One moment, hang on.
Hello, I'm back. I think I turned off my okay. So we start with listening mode.
Okay, no problem. Okay, alrighty. Hello, Ron and chị Hoa.
Well,
Hello, I'm Frank,
Hello, Frank.
and everyone.
Fighting with me for the buttons.
Okay, very grateful that you guys have taken the time to join us again in our weekly Zoom, English Zoom. Earlier on, two people have joined the Zoom and they wanted to practice Vietnamese more, so I sent them the link to chị An Trang's group. So chị Lê Thị Thu Hà, I don't know if you are if you have joined our Zoom before, but this is an English only Zoom. We spend 99% of the time speaking English. Okay, I want to share with you a link from Miss Ann Dan. If anybody here wants to study the philosophy in Vietnamese and English, I have just posted the link in the chat. You can join that group. That is a bilingual group, song ngữ. Okay, song ngữ Anh Việt. Thời gian của cô En Trang ở cái nhóm 24 giờ toàn diện đó, là từ 9 giờ tới 11 giờ ha, mỗi ngày luôn. So the bilingual sharing is almost every day. Okay, so that's pretty exciting. Here we try to focus on speaking English. With the other one, that's a combination of Vietnamese and English. Okay. So once again, very grateful that you guys taking the time to join us. I'm honored by your participation as well. If you if you're available to turn on your camera or your microphone, that is most appreciated. Okay. Okay. So today we are going to talk a little bit more about an awareness of finance. Okay, awareness of finance. But before that, does anybody remember anything from last week? Does anybody here would like to share your lesson, your insight, and your realization about money? Anything new that you have learned or anything that you find is important that you want to recall and get our brain activated? This is a principle of mental activation or mental activation. It's a good idea to activate our brain for the purpose of optimal learning. Okay, so any insight and lessons from last week or anything during this week that you would like to share? You can type it in the chat or you can speak it. Okay. No? Nobody? Alrighty. Everyone's on mute. No problem. So I will do a little review. And as I review, feel free to turn on your microphone and your camera, raise your hand and speak up and let me know if you get anything out of it. Okay. So a quick, very brief review. So we are here expanding our awareness about money, finance, business, and investing. And we went over the concept of awareness. Awareness of something is the reality of it. To have an awareness of something is to have a reality of it. And to have the fullness of awareness of something is to have a enduring or a sustainable reality of something. Right? Because sometimes we haven't experienced some reality and then after a while it kind of go away. It is not sustainable. It is not enduring. But if we have a fullness of awareness of something, then that reality can be, sustainable, okay, and enduring. And so we went to the source concept of what it means to be aware of something. Okay, to be aware of something is to have an inner state that is balanced and positively oriented. An inner state that is balanced and positively oriented. In other words, your emotion is positive. You are not too excited or you're not too negative, and you are oriented positive. Your mindset, your emotion, your feelings, all of that is balanced and positive. Okay. Also, you have a clear, positive mental image about the concept that we're talking about. Okay, so if you have a full awareness of money, finance, and investing, then you would have a clear, positive mental image about money, finance, business, and investing. And if you have a positive, favorable source concept of something, that means you are having a fullness of awareness of that something. So when it comes to finance, business, and investment, if you have a favorable source concept, that basically favorable meaning helping you achieve what you want and not against what you want, then you will have an enduring and sustainable reality with respect to finance, business, and investing. Okay, so that is a basic foundational concept of awareness. Basically, we come to a full awareness of awareness, but here we're going to apply our awareness of money, business, and investment. Okay, so last week we talked about money, where money came from. Well, first of all, the definition of money. Right? Money is defined as the object of universal equivalent, representing the value created by human beings and governed by the law of supply and demand and the law of compensation. All right, there are many definitions of money, but this definition, this is a favorable source concept that is going to help us accumulate money in a way that is the sustainable and enduring and simple. Okay, it is the object of universal equivalent represented by the value created by human beings, governed by the law of supply and demand and the law of compensation. And so we went into where money come from, or where we can draw money from. Right? We talked about money come from Mother Nature, natural resources. And with Mother Nature, what do we do when we draw money from Mother Nature? Is it free? Does Mother Nature give us money for free? It may seem to be free at first, okay? But if we don't pay it back in one way or another, Mother Nature will come collecting, okay? Especially natural resources. If we take money in the form of lumber or trees from the forest, and we don't pay back Mother Nature by planting new trees in the forest, Mother Nature is going to make us pay for that with things like natural disasters. Okay, money. Where does money come from? It also comes from government. Okay, in the form of contracts, in the form of government projects. People who work directly with the government can draw money directly from the government. And at the same time, if you want to draw money from the government that is sustainable, you have to basically obey the law and be transparent. Okay, there are people who take advantage of loopholes and legal loopholes to extract money from the government. But if they don't obey the law, or if they don't benefit the people, then the source of money from the government is going to be cut off. Which brings us to people as a source of money. So when we draw money from people, all we need to do is get their agreement. Okay, as long as people agree to something of value, they're willing to give us money. If we can get people to agree to the value of natural resource, we can draw money from people when it comes to obtaining natural resources from Mother Nature. If the government come out with some public project and that public project benefit the people and people agree with that, then we can draw money from the people, from the government. Okay, so that's a pretty simple way to understand money. Money comes from Mother Nature, money comes from the government, and money comes from the people. With Mother Nature, there's limit, right? Natural resources, there seems to be a limit. How many trees can we cut down from the forest before the forest is completely gone? How many fish can we catch from the ocean before the ocean is empty of fishes? How much coal or precious mineral can we extract from the earth before the earth becomes depleted? So it seems that when it comes to extracting money from Mother Nature, there is a limit unless we know how to pay it back to Mother Nature, regrow things for sustainability. Money that comes from the government, there seems to be a limit as well because government change, regime change, policy change, right? Political parties change. If we want to maintain a sustainable business relationship with the government, we have to be wise enough to go with the flow and change with the government. And if you notice, whenever there is a change in government, there is usually a change in different group of people who get rich. So that too has a certain limit. On the other hand, if we draw money from people, then there is really no limit. Okay, so think about where we can get money from. It is from people. Everything that we do, if we benefit the people, if we bring value to people, then there is no limit on how much value we can get returned in terms of money. Okay, so money is the object of universal equivalent, representing the value created by human beings, people, subjected to the law of supply and demand and the law of compensation. Okay, so whether we are extracting or drawing money from Mother Nature or the government or people, money only begins to take on value when there is a universal equivalent, and that only comes from agreement with people. Okay, all right, that's a review. In other words, as long as people agree that something is of value, they will give us money for it. And they will give us money in the equivalent to the value that we give them. Okay, so when it comes to people, it has to do with the value that we create in terms of quality as well as quantity. We can create a lot of quantity of something and we can extract a lot of money. Or we can create something of great value, then we can extract a lot of money, even if it is not widely distributed. Okay. Okay, so that's a review. Okay. Let's see what else. If let's talk about business. Okay, so this is a yeah. Go ahead, Ron.
Mother Nature can also be used as a bartering system, growing your own food, trading. That's
Exactly.
value of money as well. So
There you go. Yeah, yeah. You can exchange fish for firewood.
yeah.
You can exchange firewood for fur from an animal, right? But at some point, you know, because humanity society becomes more complicated. We depend on the government to issue, you know, currency. We depend on people to agree to the value of that currency. Okay, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about business. Okay, if you're in a business of selling some product or services, then you're essentially exchanging the value of those products and services for money. Okay, as long as people agree that your product and service is of value, they'll give you money for it. However, if you're working for a company, for a wage, for example, okay, a lot of us are employees of a company. Well, are we not exchanging the value of our time and our effort and our talent? Then essentially, we are in a business arrangement with the company. Even though the company hires us, even though the company is called our boss, our employer, I invite you to think of yourself as a business person, even when you are an employee. So even when you're an employee for a company, I invite you to consider yourself as a business partner of that company. Because essentially, we are giving the company our product and our service, our time, our talent, our effort, our expertise, not to mention the intangible quality of ourselves that we sell to a company. Basically, when we go to a job interview, right? Instead of applying for a job with the mindset of requesting permission or applying, begging for a place to work. No, you are entering a business arrangement with the company in exchange for your time and your effort. If you think of yourself as an equal partner, then you get this, you get the sense there's a power in it. There's a proactive power involved in it, right? It is a business arrangement, even though we are being paid on an hourly or a weekly or monthly wage. So essentially, we are all in business. Okay, we are all in business. As long as there's money is involved, we are all business people. Okay, yeah. So so it gives us a lot of power that way. So with the awareness that money is the object of universal equivalent, okay, representing the value that's created by a human being, ourselves, we are all creating value and we are all receiving value. Okay, we are all in business. Okay, so what if we are talking to our children and we are want our children to give us some values in terms of, let's say, do the chores and clean the house. If we want to receive a value of a clean house done by our children, then we can approach that from a business perspective as well. If we want to receive value, then we have to give some value in return, right? It is better and more empowering for the child to do chores out of his or her own sense of ownership as a business person, as opposed to just because he or she was told to. They have to. You see the sense of empowerment when we can enter into a business relationship with respect to things like chore. Do the chore like for my son, right? My wife entered a business arrangement with our son with respect to doing the laundry. Okay, so there come an agreement of value whereby my son would do the laundry, and then every 2 weeks when my wife get paid from her job, she would pay our son some money. So he gets to make money, a business arrangement of value for value. And that empowers him to not only he gets a sense that the money that he received, not just a free allowance, it's nothing is for free, but he gets a sense of ownership. He gets a sense of responsibility, accountability. All of that goes into making a person more mature. Okay, so it is the money he spent, he feels very good. We also teach him to budget. So there's my wife teach my son to split it up to budget some amount for spending, some amount for saving, some amount for charitable gift that we call our honoring gratitude budget. Pleasure, money that he can invest in his own education, etc., and etc. So a child, my 8-year-old son, is essentially a businessman. Okay, and that is something that I recommend that we approach. If any of you have young children or plan to have children, you want to teach them to start taking ownership of his or her own finance by approaching it in terms of equal value of exchange. Okay, value for value. We are all engines of value creation. Okay, in other words, if we want anybody to give us something of value, whether we are employee with respect to our employer, or if we want our children to do chores in exchange for allowance, or it could be things like video game time, okay, an exchange of equal value, then we are in business with that person. Okay, and that satisfies the law of compensation. Okay, as we said before, money is value created by human being subjected to the law of compensation of equal value of supply and demand. And so there's a little Vietnamese rhyme, a little children's rhyme, that if you actually understand it, it expresses the idea of equivalent exchange and the law of compensation very clearly. There's a rhyme to it, so let me just read it in Vietnamese so you can get the sense of the rhyme. Okay. Those of you who are Vietnamese, you get this. I think you will appreciate this one. Thằng bờm có cái quạt mo, phú ông xin đổi ba bò chín trâu. Bờm rằng bờm chẳng lấy trâu, phú ông xin đổi ao sâu cá mè. Bờm rằng bờm chẳng lấy mè, phú ông xin đổi ba bè gỗ liêm. Bờm rằng bờm chẳng lấy liêm, phú ông xin đổi con chim đồi mồi. Bờm rằng bờm chẳng lấy mồi, phú ông xin đổi nắm xôi bờm cười. Okay, so that's a children's rhyme. My mother just taught my son this rhyme, and her intention was only to teach him dictation and spelling. But I'm going to teach him the value of money. And what it says is as follows. A poor young man has a fan made of palm leaf. Just a cheap fan made of palm leaf. Okay, you can buy it at the supermarket if you go to Vietnam. A rich man offered to trade the cheap palm leaf fan for 3 cows and 9 buffalo. 3 cows and 9 buffalo. This poor young man said, no, I'm not interested in cows and buffalo. And then the rich man say, I'm going to trade you a pond of fish. It's a business, right? He raised fish, a pond of fish. Poor young man say, I'm not interested in pond of fish. And rich man say, I'm going to trade you a raft of expensive ironwood. Okay, wood that is so dense that they sink. Okay, so in Vietnam, there is a type of wood that is so valuable, so dense, and they literally last forever if you build a house or something like that. Okay, most of the time when you would put wood in water, they float, right? That's how you tell that wood. But this wood is so dense, it actually sinks. Anyway, he's willing to sell him a raft of ironwood. Young poor guy say, I'm not interested. Rich man said, I'm going to give you a classic craft item, made of an expensive material. It is a shape of a bird. Poor young man say, I'm not interested. Finally, rich man say, I'm going to give you a handful of rice. And the poor young man say, yay, I'll take the handful of rice. So there's a little rhyme that says that equivalent exchange, the law of compensation, representing value created by human beings. It is only through the agreement of two parties that something can have value. That poor young man, he has no interest in business. He has no interest in expensive ironwood, not interest in cows or cattle. He's hungry, so he's willing to trade his fan for a handful of rice. Okay. So, okay. Let's see. So that's basically a summary of last week in terms of the definition of money. Okay. Anybody have any questions about that, or any lessons or impression before we move on? Okay, let's move on. So last week the question was where money comes from. This week we're going to ask the question. What form does money take on? Okay, what form does money take on? Or what form does money exist in? Okay, so those of you guys are in the Zoom and with the camera on or with the mic on, can you guys give me some ideas? What form do money take on? When we talk about money, what are some form that they take on? Okay. So all things in the universe exist in the following 3 forms. It is a material form. Anything that is material can be touched, feel, taste, measured, can even become a part of our awareness when they take on material form. In order to have that specific material form, science has demonstrated that that material has to have a certain energy signature. Okay, the specific energy signature of an object will give rise to the material manifestation. Here we call it the material manifestation of that object. Just like lead and gold, right? Lead and gold has a certain material manifestation to it. It turns out that they each have a distinct energy signature that give rise to that material form that we can see, touch, feel, taste, touch, measure. Okay, and in order for that object to have an energy signature of that specificity, it has to have a set of information within it. Right? With lead and gold is the arrangement of protons and electrons within the atom that give rise to that specific energy, which give rise to the specific material aspect that we can measure. Well, same thing with things that happiness. Happiness has a certain material expression that people can see, sense, become aware of. Happiness or happy people have a certain energetic component. And happiness or happy people has a certain information within them that give rise to that outward materialization that we call happiness. Same thing with success. Success has a certain material manifestation that we can feel, touch, measure, sense, become aware of. It has a certain energy component and it has a certain information within it. Same thing with money. Okay, so money has a material component, it has an energy component, and it has information. So look, in terms of material, what are some forms that money take on when it comes to material? What is the materialization of money, in other words? What are some material manifestation of money?
Mother Nature.
That is one way.
Wow.
Okay.
Food.
So earlier, last week, we talked about where money comes from. But nowadays, let's say when we think about money, okay, where's my money? Can you give me some money? Right? When we talk about money nowadays, immediately, do we think of things like assets? Do we think of properties? Right? So words like asset, words like property are simply material wealth in general, material wealth, right? When we think of wealthy people, right? Immediately, when we think about wealthy people, do we immediately goes to the material aspect of that person, right? Big house, big car, big company, big bank account, big diamond ring for some people, or big investment account. So those are the kind of things that we think about when it comes to material wealth or money in material form. My son had just paid me $4 because today, you give me extra. I only need 4. You give me 5. Come back, take one. So my son is understanding how to do business with me.
Only one?
You owe me only $4, not 5. You give me 5, right? Look, you give me 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to give me only 4. So you take 1 back, right? So my son today
Already understanding interest.
no, that was just a little, yeah, that's just a little mistake in counting. He, after I pick him up from school, he asked me to go help him buy a piece of what is it? A cheese Danish, and take it to his after school so that he could give it to his friend in appreciation for his friend being, his friend. Because tomorrow his friend is going to be the last day at school, so they won't see each other for another year or so. And so we've been sharing our son the value of honoring gratitude, a value of appreciating people, and he basically wanted to use his own money in his budget. There's a budget of gift, okay, so a budget of spending for himself, and then there's a budget that he can use to give other people gift, and he's been able to use the budget from his gift account to buy this little cheese Danish for his friend who has created value for him. The value he got was to let him play Roblox. So his friend has a tablet that share the game Roblox with him, and he appreciated that value, and now he is paying it back and paying it forward. And Chinese Danish was worth $4, and I used my digital account to pay for that. Now he's paying it back to me in cash. Okay, but anyway, material money, material wealth. Some country has in their constitution a guarantee of the pursuit of material wealth. The United States has a constitution that says that all men are created equal with a certain inalienable right, and that is the right to the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. Life, liberty, and happiness. Some country has life, liberty, and pursuit of property. Some country actually guarantee as a human right, as a citizen, as a human being, the right to pursue property, material wealth. Material wealth. Okay, so nowadays, when we think of material wealth, we think of bank account, we think of cash, we think of investment account, we think of real estate. Okay. And it turns out that our perception and our awareness and perception of what money is will determine how we accumulate money in that form. Consider this. If a person think of money as material wealth, that person will spend their time accumulating and acquiring money in material form, in material wealth, property, assets. Okay. Let's see. Right. So depending on a person's awareness of perception of what money is or what form the money take on, most of us up to now have been thinking of money as material wealth. And because of when we think of money as material wealth, what do? We accumulate and we acquire. We accumulate and we acquire. We accumulate and we acquire. We go to work. What for? So that we can get a paycheck. We accumulate and we acquire. If a person has a business, what do? They sell some product and services with the expectation of accumulating and acquiring material wealth, right? Increase the bank account. And then at some point, they will take that material wealth in terms of the bank account, they would change it to another form of material wealth. They buy, let's say, real estate. Or they would change it into another form of material wealth, let's say some investment account, right? Or they would anchor it in the form of precious gem, gold, silver. Okay. So the important point that I want to make is that when a person perceives money as material wealth, they would accumulate and acquire. Accumulate and acquire because it's material wealth. Okay. Right. But material wealth is limited. Right? Material wealth is limited. There is another type, there is another form that money will take on. It is an energetic form. Right? Just as every material has an energetic signature. Money itself, material wealth, also has an energy signature to it. And that is people. Okay. So whereas a person perceive money as material wealth, they will accumulate and acquire material wealth. Cash, bank account, real estate, precious metal, precious gem, okay? Cars, house, okay? But a person who can perceive money on an energetic level will go to work on acquiring and accumulating people. Yeah, think about it. People is the energy of money. Okay, remember that it is only through human being that value is created. Even if we draw money from Mother Nature, even if we draw money from some natural resources, it is only through some people agreeing to buy that resource that becomes money. So it is really through people that money is created. Imagine the biggest, the company, the rich people, rich, wealthy people who make a lot of money, generate a lot of money, people who have a lot of material wealth, do they also not have a lot of people under them or in their network? The big corporation, they have a lot of people, right? A business person who has a lot of people. Why? Because people will create the material wealth. And if we are someone who does not have a lot of material wealth at this point, it is difficult to go and try to attract material wealth out of thin air. We have to go through people. We have to build our network, our social relationship, right? There's a saying, it is not what you know, it is who you know, right? So imagine you look at the rich people, look at the big corporation, they have people as their wealth and asset, not just the money in their bank account, but their people are also their wealth. It is the people that are also their talent, their asset. And when it comes to people, there is quality and quantity. Right? There's quality and quantity. Back in the days of, let's say, the slave age, where it was okay for a master to own thousands and thousands of slaves, they have a lot of quantity. But nowadays, you only need to have 1 or 2 really smart people in your company, like the company of Berkshire and Hathaway and Berkshire, that big investment guy. He only have a handful of people, but he's like a billionaire. He create a lot of value, only having a few people. Okay, now imagine what it would be like if your people were also rich. If your people were rich, how about holistically rich? What would your material wealth be like if you have a lot of people and your people are rich in wisdom, rich in attitude, rich in character, rich in physical vitality and capability, and they are rich in virtue, which is integrity, right? What would your ultimate material be like if you have around you people who are holistically wealthy? And so when we think about people as energy of money, we have a certain perspective. And you want to write this down, okay? We can be rich if we have, people with us. And people are our capitals and asset. Okay, those are some of the perspective when it comes to people and money. People are our capitals and asset. It is through people that we can grow material wealth. People are our path in life. If they are not somebody that it is the path that we walk along, then they are the bridge leading to path in life. Okay, people are our path in life. If not, bridges connect us to path. People are our value connectors. Really, people are value connectors. Another perspective is that where there are people, there are money. Where there are people, there are money. Right, so we look at big cities with a lot of people. Wherever there's a lot of people, a lot of business, a lot of opportunity to make money. Okay, so where there are people, there are money. It is only through people that values are created, that material wealth is created, that properties and assets are created. Okay, so people really are our wealth. Here's the thing with rich people, at some point in their life, if they have accumulated a lot of material wealth, okay, if at some point in their life, they will start thinking about leaving behind some kind of legacy, some kind of inheritance to the next generation, right? If you're still poor and you're still struggling, you might not even think about it. But rich people, at some point, they start thinking about leaving behind a legacy. Some of you in this Zoom may be at a point where you've already started to think about leaving behind some kind of legacy, some kind of inheritance for the next generation. What are some of those things that you want to leave behind? Is it just material wealth, your bank account, your investment account? Or there is another type of wealth or inheritance that you could give to your children? How about a network of quality social relationship? Right? Beside from your bank account and your investment account, your house and your real estate, what would your children or your next generation's life be like if you leave behind a legacy of quality social relationship? How about that one? Few people even think about that. What would our children's life be like if we leave with them an inheritance of quality social relationship? Because through that quality social relationship, through that network of people, they can generate material wealth for themselves. Yeah, that is what really rich people do. Their children, they may grow up and they may, be introduced to a CEO or some corporation because their parents have been part of that corporation. Rich people pass on to their children not just the material wealth, it is the wealth of people. A quality social relationship is something that we want to build in this lifetime and pass it on to the next generation. Okay. Let's see. People as capital, people as asset. In the country of Japan, certain people who have a lot of talent, who contribute a lot of value to the how do you say, the richness of the country, gets an honorary title called a national treasure. Okay, there are human beings who are considered living national treasure in the country of Japan. Right? Previously, when we think of national treasure, we think of some artifact, some object, right? Maybe the constitution of the country, some relic, the gold deposit. But in the country of Japan, living human beings gets designated the title of national treasure because of their contribution to the country. The country recognized their contribution, their value, their talent. Okay, and so they get to receive a lot of honor, they get to receive a lot of social support from the government, from the people, for having been designated literally a living national treasure. At the same time, because it is a national treasure, they cannot sell themselves off to another country. Okay, because it is precious, right? If it is something precious to a country, something precious to you, you don't want to, lose it. So a person who is designated as a national treasure in the country of Japan are not allowed to sell their talent to another country. Okay, they can only contribute to the value of their own country. So that's an interesting little side note. Okay, a human being, when being recognized and appreciated and honored as a living treasure, that's a nice kind of thing, right? So, is that something that we can think about when we think about our children? We think about our employees, right? They are treasures, and we want to keep them. We want to invest in them. We want to cultivate them. And imagine what it would be like if our treasure, our people, are cultivated with the richness of wisdom, with the richness of attitude, with the richness of character, refined character. All right, if we can help them refine their character, if we can help them become people of outstanding virtues and integrity, we develop the physical vitality as well as their capability and power, then there would be no limit to how much value they can create for us. And therefore, people are the energy of money. Did you get that part wrong when I said that in Japan, they are living national treasure? Yeah, they're living national treasure. Wonderful, wonderful concept when they have a recognition of a human being as something very treasurable. Okay, all right. Yeah, imagine our people as energy of money. What would be like if the people that we have within our wealth are the people who has knowledge of sages? What if the people that we have around us are the people that we can consider great benefactors, people who help us? What if the people around us are the people who are talent asset, who are spirit of fortune, who are masters and mentors and experts, who are virtuous companion? Right? Imagine how rich we can be if we have those 9 types of people. Remember in the course on the inner being, we talked about the 9 types of people that we want to attract, know how to treat them, how to become them. Right? And how do you attract people? Just as how do we attract money? Previously, we go to work for money. When people go to work for money, they think about the material aspect of money. And that's hard work. And it's limited. If you work for money, the money you make is pretty limited. But instead of thinking about how to work, instead of finding money or working for money, why not attract money? So that is a new shift in perspective that we invite you to think about. Instead of working for money or finding money, even people who do business, sometimes they will mistakenly think that they are doing the business in order to find money or to make money. It's hard work. Making money is hard work. In a way, it's kind of like paddling against the current. So there is a principle at work that helps us accumulate money much more efficiently. It is the idea of attracting money. To become an attractor for money as opposed to be a person who goes out and find and work for money. All right, so we can switch our perspective from working for and finding money to the perspective of the kind of person who attract money. Then money will come flowing in. And how do you do that? Well, one way to attract is money is to attract people. In the inner being course, how do we attract people? Does anybody remember? What is the definition of a person that other people want to be close to? Remember anything like that?
with a smile.
Okay, that's one way. Yeah. Okay. A smile is the expression of the character of joy. The smile is an expression of the character of joy. And there are, I think, 9 different character of a person of refined character. The character of joy, the character of hope. We didn't go through all of that in this season just yet, but the character of hope, joy, love, honoring gratitude, serenity, magnanimity, authenticity, trust. All of those characteristic or character of a person makes a person of refined character. So if we go to work on refining our character, we will be at some point we will become a person of refined character. And a person of refined character is also defined as a successful person. And a successful person is a person whom other people want to be close to. So all we got to do is to work on ourselves, and we will become an attractor of people, and people are the energy of money, and people are going to be the people who bring us the material wealth. We just kind of take a look at our Master Thorn. For the first 15 years or so, he goes to work on himself, refining his character, perfecting his integrity, working on the 3 survival motivation, becoming the kind of person who create value to other people. One of them is giving the gift of his smile, right? Through the 7 great givings, we attract people. And when we can attract a lot of people are energy of money, they're going to bring material wealth. And that is why nowadays, if Master Thorn has any idea, if we need to build a complex to train new educators, new mentors and masters, he just have to speak up, and then the people around him will pour in the money and the resources. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. Through people, money is created. Okay. We want to leave behind not only our material wealth, but the wealth of people as well. Okay. The wealth of people. Okay. Information. Everything that has a material manifestation has an energy component, and that component comes from a core set of information or source concept. And so we simply use the word knowledge for it. Ooh, knowledge. Okay. Knowledge is the informationalization of money. It is the source concept of money. Okay. Beside from material wealth, beside from the energy of people, can we give our next generation money in the form of knowledge? Can we pass down a legacy of knowledge, a wealth of information, a wealth of knowledge? Money, material wealth is limited. Even people can be limited. Okay, they can go away. Okay, but information is a lot more long-lasting. Information. Okay, so what is information as knowledge? How do you create material wealth from information? Okay, take for example, a person goes to a friend's house and they enjoy a dinner, and they ask a friend for the recipe for that dinner, a dish. And now he has in his hand the information or the knowledge of a recipe for a certain kind of food. And he takes that knowledge, he gathers some people together, he creates a chain of restaurants selling the food based on that recipe. He has just turned information into material. He has turned knowledge into wealth just through a recipe of some food, right? How else can information be turned into wealth? Information or knowledge is just a single idea. Okay, it is every rich person who really, really rich begin with just one good idea. 30 years ago, none of us have a conception of what a computer is, right? Most of us going to school when we're still doing math with a calculator. We just use a calculator. Most of us calculate by hand. We had no idea what a computer is. Computer was this mysterious thing that is reserved for the government, for the Department of Defense. The internet was used by the Department of Defense, for the government, the military. And then at some point, a company called Internal Business Machine, IBM, started to applying computer to business. So computer was only used for big business, do large computation. But a few people had an idea, a certain knowledge. They understood how computer works, and they understood how the human mind works. And they had the idea that one day there will be a personal computer in every home, in every country in the world. Those two people is Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. They had a single idea, a simple idea of turning a computer, this vague, massive instrument of calculation, into something that is personable. It is called a personal PC, the personal computer. The word PC comes from that. Just knowledge. They had knowledge of computer. They had knowledge of people. And what did they do? They formed a company. Steve Jobs formed a company called Apple. Bill Gates formed a company called Microsoft. What does the word company stand for? What is a word company? Meaning a group of people, right? The word to form a company means to form a group of people. So they took their knowledge, they apply it to a group of people with capability and knowledge. And we'll talk a little bit about what kind of people, how we satisfy that. And within a few decades, they are some of the richest people in the world. And the rest of the world also benefit materially as well, simply from a handful of people with some great idea, some knowledge. Okay? A bit of knowledge, when you develop, it's called a concept. And if that concept is developed into a system of thought, it's called a philosophy. All right? 10, 15 years ago, a young man had an idea, a single idea, that if we can teach businesses to teach their people how to cultivate serenity, magnanimity, and honoring gratitude, then the whole world will be at peace. It's a simple idea. He talked to some Zen masters, and he'd been cultivating, moral principles most of his life. He understood emptiness of being. He understood inner being. He understood human nature. He understood the three prime reference system. He understood how scientific works. He understood how religion and spirituality work. He understood moral principle. And he had an idea that if he can install those ideas into businesses, then the business, being vehicle of people, will create not only material wealth for the world, but it also create holistic wealth for the world. There will be world peace if the WIT organization can install the philosophy of root education in all the businesses, and that'll create world peace. People have been trying to create world peace for many years, but few have had a philosophy that is comprehensive, knowledge that is transformative. Okay. The example of the recipe, food recipe turning into a chain of restaurant, that is worldly knowledge. The example of computer turned into personal computer is worldly knowledge. But here we're dealing with the kind of knowledge that doesn't exist in the school system. It is transformative knowledge, and it is the philosophy of root education. Okay, the philosophy of root education is the kind of knowledge, the kinds of information that give a person total wealth and total health. Imagine what the world would be like if everybody was totally wealthy, totally rich in wisdom, totally rich in attitude and integrity and character, totally rich in physical vitality and capability. What would that world be like? Okay, and so we are very fortunate to be in this space at this time talking about this kind of transformative knowledge. We can be pretty grateful for that. Okay, and so yeah, those are the forms that money take on: material wealth, energy of people, and information, but in this case, transformative knowledge as information. Okay. Any impression, any question about that so far before we move on? What do you think about that idea so far, Ron, Jihua, or Jiyung? Is this new to you, that money takes on the material form, it takes on energy form, and it takes on any information? Information is limitless, but information is dead if there's no people. A person can have a great idea, but unless that person become a person of refined character who can attract other people, and through those people turn the information into material wealth, and the information is useless. Inventors, scientific inventors, they don't make a lot of money. They have great knowledge, they have great information, they have patent, but it's not the inventors that make a lot of money. It is usually the company that owns the inventor. It's the person who does the business, right? It is the person who knows how to take this patent, gather a bunch of people with capability, with attitude and wisdom, with character, and turn it into a product or service, right? The person who invented the computer, we have no idea who invented the computer, but we all know Bill Gates and we all know Steve Jobs because those two people understood people. They understood how to take knowledge. Bill Gates is probably not the best computer programmer. Steve Jobs is not the best computer programmer. They may have had some knowledge of it, but their talent, their power lies in the ability to energize the information and turn that into material wealth. So a lesson here is to work on the people, the energy component of money. That's the fastest way to build material wealth. There is always somebody out there that has more knowledge, technical knowledge, than we do. But very few people out there who have been fortunate enough to be in contact with, to be exposed to this transformative education that we call the philosophy of root education. We just take the philosophy of root education, we plug whatever source concept, whatever technical knowledge, we gather the right kind of people, and we can turn that into material wealth. Okay, same thing with our next generation of children. Okay, we can leave them a legacy of appropriate awareness and perception. We can give them transformative education. We give them a legacy of richness, of wisdom and attitude, of character, of integrity. Okay? What do you think?
It's the same thing with Facebook. They know how to catch the younger generation.
There you go.
Once the computers are developed, these other programs come on and capture different types of people.
Yeah. The idea of creating a website where different people can plug in and share their ideas. And what's his name? Mark Zuckerberg was not the first person who came up with it. Many people who did it, but he understood people in a different way. Somehow he is able to energize the idea and turn it into a multi-billion-dollar industry. Yeah, it is an understanding of people and the application of knowledge. Okay. So now that we understand that, what we can do is, if we have limited material wealth at this point. It is difficult to go to work and try to accumulate the material wealth directly. Some people try to do it. They go against the flow by trading. They trade what? They trade their time, they trade their health to acquire material wealth directly. Right? People work harder. If we want more money, work harder. That's fine. But we pay the price. People do illegal things to acquire material money, and they pay the price. But the wise people understood that there is an unlimited potential when you understand money as information. Money as information. There's unlimited potential when we understand that money as people. So what they do is they go to work on improving their knowledge. They go to work on improving their social relationship. Okay, and here we are fortunate to have the kind of information that is holistic health, holistic wealth, the house of holistic health, holistic wealth. That's why I always say, if we are rich in wisdom and attitude, if we're rich in character and integrity, if we're rich in physical vitality and capability, then the roof of that house, that material wealth has to come. Another way of saying is that it is impossible to be materially poor when you are holistically rich. If your inner being is rich, if your health is rich, if your social relationship, the people is rich, then you have to be rich. Money will just come in. Yeah, so don't go to work on accumulating material wealth at this point. Instead, use whatever material wealth that we have, invest it or anchor it in information and in people. If we are a company and if we invest in enriching our people, give them wisdom, give them attitude, give them character and integrity, enhance the physical vitality and their capability. Invest in transformative knowledge. Then that money will be well spent. It will be a sustainable and enduring wealth of people as well as material wealth. Because at the end of the day, it is the people that's going to carry the organization forward. The people with the right knowledge is going to carry the organization forward in a sustainable, scalable, and beneficial way. Okay, we'll talk about sustainability, scalability, and beneficial in a little bit. Okay, but so whereas previously we thought about working for money, whether you were doing business or you are or you are employee of a company, we are always in business. And if even business owner mistakenly think of doing business as working for money or looking for money, and as a result, they experience stress, and their income or their money is limited. Okay, so instead of working for money, let's use blue. We're going to attract money. Okay, we're going to attract money. Okay, so how do you attract money? Instead of working and spending our effort paddling against the current, how do we attract money? Simple. You begin with a plan. Okay, a plan, a business plan. It doesn't have to be a business plan. It could be a simple plan. Okay. Through a plan, which is idea, which is money, and which is knowledge and information, you take a plan, you apply the plan to people. And from the plan, you plus the people, the end result is the product or service that we provide for others in exchange for money. Product or services. This is especially useful if you don't have material wealth in your hand. In the past, when somebody say, if you want to make a lot of money, you have to do business. If you want to make a lot of money, you have to invest. And a person who does not have a fullness of awareness of money, business, and investment will say things like, I don't have any money. Right? Have you heard of that before? Right? A person who does not have an awareness of money, business, and investment in the way that we do, they will simply say, I have no money to start a business. I have no money to invest. You need a lot of money. Well, those people think of money as material wealth. But we have just learned that money takes on different form, and it is not just material wealth. It is not how much money you have in your bank account. It is not how much real estate or hard currency or anything that you have. All you need is the energy of money. And that is a plan. That's it, a single idea. And when the single idea develops, it becomes a plan. And that plan is applied to a group of people, people of refined character, and you get product and services that will attract money. So I'll share with you my own story. I'm not much of a business, but I was fortunate to be part of a business. It was a nonprofit business. It was a community service, a community development organization in San Diego. And we had the idea, the final product. We had a mental image, a clear mental image. Okay, we're using the scientific process here. We have a clear mental image of the product and service that we wanted to give to people in exchange for money. That was a Tết festival, a Vietnamese Lunar New Year festival. We were going to attract 20 to 100,000 people. We were going to serve 20 to 100,000 people in the form of a Vietnamese Tết festival. Do you guys have Tết festival in Canada, Ron? Do you ever go to the Vietnamese community there, celebrate Tết? The Vietnamese Lunar New Year? Yeah. Well, my business partner and I had zero money. We had $0 in our bank account. Okay, the organization has no money. But my friend, the founder of the organization, had an idea. He had this vision, a mental image of a Tết festival, very clear mental image. And he also had a clear source concept of how to go about doing it. One of the things that we did is we hold a press release event. We invite the media, we invite the news media, we invite the local newspaper, we invite the local TV, and we presented our plan. We said that in San Diego, previously their tiny little Tết celebration, but there has never been a big festival that can serve 20 to 100,000 people. But we're going to do it. This is the date that we're going to do it. These are the kind of things that we're going to have it. We're going to have Vietnamese entertainment. We're going to bring A-class singers, some of them from Vietnam, some of them from local United States. We're going to provide opportunity for vendors, food vendors, right, to serve Vietnamese food, fusion food, Asian food. We're going to create venue for advertising, for local businesses to advertise. The government can have their own booth to promote their services. Other nonprofit charity can promote their services. It is going to be a 3-day event. We're going to have a cultural village where we would build mock structure of Vietnamese landmarks, pagodas and temples. And it's going to be a wonderful photo opportunity. There will be carnival ride for little kids. and adult alike. There will be games, entertainment, all these wonderful things. We painted a picture. We'll give them a plan of what we're going to do. We say we're going to need people. We're going to need people, and we're going to need money. Okay. In terms of running the festival, we created opportunity for high school and college students to perform community service. A lot of high school students had a need for accumulating community service in order to build their resume and build the application for college. So they welcomed the opportunity to volunteer at a tech festival. It's also fun. We basically operated on the human nature of desire and imagination. People desire in imagination for a tech festival, desire in imagination for entertainment, for good food, for community service opportunity. We attracted businesses. We say it is an opportunity for business to make money, right? The vendor come, they sell their food, they make money. Big sponsors who want to go out there and get their name out, right? We had casino sponsor, we had car manufacturer sponsor, Toyota sponsor. And we invited public officials, elected officials, city council, Congress people to come and speak to the people because they had an audience, right? Congress people, legislature, what they wanted was to be able to interact with large crowd of people, especially the Vietnamese community at that time in San Diego, were difficult to reach due to the language barrier. But we created a bridge. So we had a plan, and we gathered people together. And from those people, the high school student, the college student, the professional people, people who want to give, people who want to try out the skill, people who just want to get the name out there, all kinds of people came, and we put on a great big festivals. And I think at the first time, we were able to attract about 20,000 people. Okay. And we began with $0. Okay. And when it comes to plan, okay, when it comes to a plan, at some point, I think the width is some people are starting already to share how to develop a plan. But one of the things that we knew how to do was how to create a plan, a business plan. A business plan should have a vision statement. It should have a mission statement. It should have a value statement that clearly identify the mental images that we want to create. That's a vision. The mission, right? What are we doing it for? And what value do we give to people? And in order for a plan, in order to attract money, the plan needs to satisfy the following way. Whatever plan or whatever business that we do, it needs to satisfy the following elements. It needs to align with, I shouldn't use the acronym. Okay, align with what's called the power triad. I will explain the power triad in a little bit. I think I may have mentioned it last week. Okay, it has to align with the power triad. Okay. At its fundamental level, any business or any business plan, in order to attract money, has to align with the power triad. On an energetic level, the people involved or the business plan itself, you just look at the business plan and you want to see if they have heart. Okay, do the people have good heart? We'll explain what that means a little bit. Does the business or the plan have appropriate resource to be carried out? Now we're actually getting into investment. Because when you look at investment of any company, this is the element that you really want to look at. Do they have a plan? Do they have the people? Do they have what product or services? More and importantly, are those product services, do they align with the power triad? Do they have good heart? Do they have appropriate resources? And what are their capability? Okay, or sometimes I use the word power. And most importantly, is your plan or your business sustainable? Is it scalable? Can you do it small and then can you do it big? And is it beneficial? Okay. Is it sustainable? Is it scalable? Is it beneficial? So if you can go and through and check mark all of these, that's a good business plan. That's a good business. Okay, when we're investing, we're looking at company. Previously, when people invest in company, they just kind of look at their product or services. In fact, many people don't even look at the product or services. They just kind of look at, oh, how much money I'm going to get in return. The promise of the return sort of is an illusion. It misguide a person, right? You get starry-eyed, you look at the promise of return, and the company has no people, it has no plan, or the plan doesn't align with the power triad, the people doesn't have hard resources and capability, it's not sustainable, scalable, and beneficial. And so many investment fail. Most people invest in stock market, fail. Because all they do is they look at the bottom line, they just look at the numbers, they just look at the return. But these are the elements that makes an investment or a business sustainable, scalable, and beneficial. Okay, let's take a look at the power triad. I think last week somebody mentioned that, and I may have written down. Let's see if I have it. Otherwise, I can regenerate that triangle of reality. Power triad. The power triad here. Okay. I don't have it, so let me rewrite it. It's simple. The power triad. Okay. Power triad. Let's draw a triangle. Okay. The power triad is very simple. People is one of the corners of the power triad. People have the power. Okay. Who else have the power? The government. Why do government exist? If not to serve the people. Doesn't matter what country you're from, doesn't matter what political system you're under, how government only exists by the consent of the government, by the people. The people give power to a smaller group of people in order to maintain security of the common, the common security, the public good. Okay, and rich people, the rich. Okay, the government, add with the government, the rich, and the people. Okay, these are the power triad. So if we are to create a business plan or to create a business, it has to satisfy the people, the rich, and the government. The people is simple. As long as we get an agreement from people, as long as we can benefit the people, we're going to draw money from the people. The government is an important power in the power triad. If we create a business plan that does not satisfy the government, this plan is not going to be sustainable. Whether we are drawing money directly from the government or whether we are doing it just for the common people, we still have to satisfy the government. In a country that runs on the law, for instance, then the government is governed by the law. So our business and our plan has to obey the law. It's that simple. The moment that our plan violates some law and interfere with the government, it breaks. Okay? And the rich. Oh, this one's interesting. Who are the rich in society? Are they not the people who have the knowledge and the people who have come to a point where they bring a lot of value to the rest of the people? Is it not the rich who make a lot of difference in society? Yeah. The rich are the people who have the knowledge, they have the people behind them, and they have the product and services that provide enough value so that people will give them money so they become rich. If our plan, if our business threaten the rich, guess what happened? We get into competition. The rich would find ways to, eliminate or make it difficult for our plan. Right? We see that happening. That's why in the business world, if a startup business or something, try to create some product or services, and that product or services threatens the well-being of the rich, of existing corporation, for example, existing business, for instance, then it's going to be difficult. You're going to have to spend a lot of resources fighting. Yeah, fight. In a democratic country ruled by law, it's lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. So if we're going to create a business plan, you're going to have to do a little bit of market research, see what the powers are out there, who are the successful players out there in the game. Those are the rich, those are the people who have already made a lot of money. If we're trying to create a product and service that the same as the rich, well, first of all, the rich, what do they like? They like money. And so that's why they become rich. And if our product and services threaten their ability to accumulate their material wealth, then we're going to get in trouble. Our plan may not take off, or it may not be sustainable. It may not be scalable. And so we have to satisfy the rich, the government, and the people. The government has to support us, because without the government support, we're not going to get last very long. Ultimately, the government is created in order to serve the people. If the product and services help the government serve the people, that's great. Okay. Next week, I think I will talk a little bit more in detail about that. Yeah. But the second component is the heart. The heart. Okay, so we look at people. First of all, we look at the plan. Okay, does the plan satisfy the power triad? Does it align with the rich, the government, or the people? Okay, does it threaten their well-being? And secondly, we look at the people in that plan, that company. We look at the company. Do they have heart? Do they have resources? And do they have capability? Resources here is money and talent. Money and talent. Okay, a person may have a wonderful plan, but we look at them. Well, first of all, money is okay. We can forgive them for not having money. But that's why they want us to invest, right? They might not have the resources of money. That's why they are opening up opportunities for us as investors to put money and invest. So it's okay not to have monetary resources, but you should have talent resources. Right? You look at the group of people, do they actually have the talent? Do they actually know what they're doing? And then you look at the capability. What are some technology that they're using? What are some skills and methodology that they are going to use to carry out this plan? That's the technical stuff. That's the ways and mean to carry about their plan. I'm going to focus a little bit on the heart. Okay, the heart of people. If you want to attract money, you want to look at the heart of the people in that company or in that plan. Heart. Okay, there are different components to looking at a group of people's heart. There is the heart of, let's say, heart of helping. Heart of helping. Do they actually want to help society? Or are they just trying to get you to give them money? Okay, because if they have the help of helping others, get what? They are aligning themselves with the principles and natural law of causality, of the spiritual, perspective, religion, spiritual perspective, of blessing and merit. If we create value and we help other people, we're going to accumulate positive energy in our good fortune account, right? We accumulate blessings. And so our fortune is going to be positive. But if a group of people comes up with a plan and that plan is trying to make money, not caring for people, not helping them, then we might want to reconsider that plan. The heart of helping. Okay, there's another aspect to, we'll go back to heart of helping. There's another heart, the heart of comprehension. This is about awareness and perception. Do the people of that plan or the people of that business comprehend human life and experience? Do they understand life from a scientific, a spiritual, and a moral principle perspective? Or are they only interested in the numbers? You look at their heart. Do they want to help people? Do they understand people? After I share the awareness and perception on finance, I'll go back and go into details on our awareness and perception of people. Do they have a heart of wisdom? Do they have a heart of attitude and character? Are their heart full of integrity and capability? Are they healthy? Okay, healthy comes from capability. Okay, are the people in the company sick? You talk to a potential business partner, or if you're looking to invest in a business and you find out that that person got cancer, or they're having trouble with their finance, with the relationship. So when we teach the knowledge on the inner being stuff, we're talking about the inner being, the health of relationship, all of that comes into play right here. Okay, but heart of helping others, heart of helping other people, heart of gratitude. Yeah, because honoring gratitude is a positive energy that multiply or amplify what we have. Do the people that we do business with, do the people that we're investing in, are they grateful? Because if they're not grateful, they're going to go negative. They're going to be resentful at some point. They're going to take for granted. And those are negative energy that drive money away, drive people away. So let's take a little bit closer look in the heart of helping others. Okay. What does it mean to have the heart of helping others. So let's gonna use helping others. Who are the people that should be helped? Okay, who are the people that should be helped? If it is just from a personal perspective, who are some people that should be helped? We're going to look at it holistically. People that we should help at first, people who are close to us. People close to us. Okay? People who are close to us. Those are the people with whom we should help. How do you tell when a person is close to you? When two people talk and they raise their voice, as in an argument. Why do they raise their voice in an argument? Why do people who are arguing raise their voice?
They want to be heard.
Yeah, but why do they want to be heard? It is because the distance between their heart is so far away, so they have to yell. It's like you're trying to yell across the street, so far away. When two people are arguing, the distance between their heart is so far away that they have to raise their voice in order to be heard. On the other hand, when two people are very intimate, they whisper. They whisper. Yeah. So helping other people who are close to us is simple. It's because it's the most simple thing to do. Okay, they are next to us. It is simple, and so we help them. Okay, and how do we help? How do we, if we have a circle of people that are not so close, let's say we have a bunch of acquaintance, there are different levels of acquaintance, remember, different levels of acquaintance. Let's see. I see levels of closeness. In social relationship. Okay. So most of us have some acquaintances. Acquaintance. Okay, acquaintance. That's like having one information about them. We just happen to know the face or the name. Another level that we get a little closer is familiarity. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm familiar with that person. We may know more than one information. We may know that more than just the name. Maybe we even have their phone number. But even though we have the phone number, we may not ever talk to them. So still not enough. If we can get someone to a level of fondness, we like them or they like us. That is the minimum degree of closeness that we want to get to before we do any business transaction with another person, before we invest. We actually have to like them, because liking somebody is a positive energy. And by the law of causality, when our inner state is positive, it will reflect in our outward material life, right? The root of our being is our inner being. If our inner being is positive, it will reflect outwardly in terms of positive and desirable circumstances. So we really want to get to the level of fondness if we want to do any business with anybody, or we invest in anybody. Or even as we are building a plan and we are trying to attract people into our group, to our plan, we want to get to the level of fondness. We already know how to make people like us, right? How? By the definition of a successful person is a person that others want to be close to. And a successful person is a person of refined character. Joy, hope, trust, honoring gratitude, magnanimity, all that good stuff. That's how we attract other people, get other people to like us, and then proactively like them. Proactively like them. Okay? Get to the level of fondness in a social relationship and closeness before we do any business. And obviously, if we can get to the level of trust, that's even better. Okay? And finally, intimacy is the kind of trust that you can trust. With the level of trust, you can trust people with your money. Intimacy, you can trust people with your life or your life saving. Okay. Right? So this is okay. So I'm fortunate to have my wife as a person who is building our financial independence, future. Okay. So I'm at a level where I can trust my life, where I'm at the level where I can trust my wife with my money, my life saving, and my life. And she's the one who's, making the money. Okay. So that's heart. Okay. That is heart of helping other people, those who are close to us. Okay. Try to get them close to us, because when we get them close to us and and we like them and they like us. Okay. Another people that we want to help is the people who need us. Okay, we want to help those who need us. Okay, there's an identify a need. Have you ever given charity to a homeless person and they refuse it? Has anybody here ever tried to help somebody and they refuse it because they don't need it? Yeah. Then if you help somebody who don't need you, you're basically wasting your resources. And you build no affinity with that person. We do not get closer to them. They don't like us. If you try to help somebody and they refuse it, they don't need it, they might even, we may even create a negative energy. We cause bad deed for them. Our affinity go down when we try to help somebody who don't need us. All right. So we only help people who actually need us. Those who are close to us, those who need us, and those who have helped us. Okay, those who have helped us. This is honoring gratitude at work. To recognize that another person has given us some value, right? Our benefactors, those who have helped us, those are benefactors. There are great benefactors, the medium size, and then the small little benefactors all around us. And if we can proactively pay back and pay forward, then we are practicing or materializing the concept of honoring gratitude. And we are exhibiting this dimension of a heart of helping others in the triangle of reality to attract money. Right? Because when we help those who help us, we are showing our honoring gratitude. We show them that we are people of propriety, be a person who, who are considerate, and that improves our affinity with other person. Okay. Even if they might not need us, maybe not so close to us, just be ready and offer to help those who have helped us. Okay. Is there anything one? Oh, and last one, most importantly, those who exhibit honoring gratitude. Maybe we have an acquaintance. Maybe we don't really know them very well. They don't really, not really close to us. They're not in immediate need, and they may not have helped us. But we notice that, oh, this person has the energy of honor and gratitude. Then we should proactively help them. Because that person's energy of honor and gratitude, that positive energy, will likely cause them to pay it back and pay it forward. And so we should look for people who are grateful. Hello, Ji Cook. Thank you for joining our Zoom. Okay. So look for people who carry that energy of honor and gratitude and proactively help them, because they will naturally give back and pay it forward, and thereby helping us attract money. Okay, that is the heart of helping others. Heart of helping others. Okay, so that's for ourselves. At the same time, we look for, when we're investing or we're looking to do business with anybody, any partner, do they have a helper helping others? Do they genuinely, authentically want to help people? Or do they just want to make money? Because just wanting to make money is going to break. It's not gonna be sustainable. But the heart of helping others is gonna make it sustainable. And then the heart of comprehension, we already mentioned that briefly. Do they understand people? Do they understand how the game works? Do they understand money from the three components? Do they understand money from an informational aspect? Do they understand money in the form of energy? Or are they just focused on the material aspect of money? Because if they understand money as information and energy, if they understand money come from knowledge and people, then the business that we're entering with them is going to be sustainable. It's going to be scalable, and it's going to be beneficial. Beneficial is helping other people. The heart of comprehension, right? Do they comprehend that wisdom has to do with state of awareness? Do they realize the difference between how do you say, alignment with their desire versus against the desire? Do they understand principles and natural laws? Do they understand causality from a holistic perspective? Not only do they have a comprehension of how the physical world works, do they have a spiritual dimension in their heart? Do they understand human life and experience? The kind of stuff that we're working on, right? So if a person can satisfy all of that, if they understand wisdom as different levels of awareness, can they reach a level of emptiness when it comes to encountering undesirable circumstances? Are they magnanimous to other people, or do they blame them? Can they, using level 1, pick and choose positivity instead of negativity? Some people may not have studied our philosophy, but some of them, right? Many successful people have not studied our philosophy, but if they exhibit all of those quality, if they can comprehend, if they know how to be positive in a crisis, if they know how to be tolerant and magnanimous to people, if they know how to maintain a state of balance and positive orientation with respect to all circumstances, then yeah, we should consider working with them. And if they can have the heart of helping others, that's also satisfy our criteria. Okay? That is the heart of helping other people. Resources we already mentioned, talent and money. When we're investing in a company, obviously they don't have, they may not have a lot of money just yet. But even then, we look at the people, okay? Are they able to attract resources when they need to? What kind of capability do they have? Do they know how to use technology? Or, WIT organization utilizes AI. We're talking about human life and experience. We're talking about honoring gratitude. We're talking about serenity, inner peace. Things that religious people have been doing for years, but we are including AI. We're including cutting edge technology in order to create product and services that is sustainable, scalable, and beneficial. That's all I have for today. What are some of your insights? Anything new?
I think as long as you have the 7 great gifts of life, you're able to attract people.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that is 7 great gifts of life. Some that you can definitely attract people. Okay. But in order to fully maximize our givings of our smile, givings of our loving gaze, giving our kind word, giving our heart of gratitude, and giving our space with our spirit of magnanimity, giving of our hand and feet, which is our helping, and the giving of our position, which is our status in life.
Yes.
They have to have an awareness and perception about each of those gifts. And it is a wonderful time that we are having here, that we get to discuss awareness and perception, because each of those giving, when a person comes to a full and complete awareness of it, if they have a positive mental image of it, if they have a good concept of it, and if they are balanced and positive oriented about it, then those gifts would be appropriate. Yeah. Because with things like helping, right? Give up our body, give up our hands and feet. Many people can help. On an outward expression, we may see them do charity, for instance. Right? They may do charity. A lot of people do charity. But in their heart, they may not have the heart of helping. They may not be charitable in their heart. They may not be altruistic. Remember desire? Desire has a polarity of positive and negative. Helping other people, wanting for the benefit of others, is called altruism. It has to do with generosity, beneficial. But some people do charity with the desire of being recognized, of getting something in return. It is an economic exchange. It is not helping people. And if that's the case, then it will limit their ability to attract people, and would limit our ability, to get close to them as well. It cancels out. You're helping people, but on the other hand, they want something in return, wanting some fame, for instance, right? People who make a lot, who has a lot of money, like material wealth. At some point, they have so much material wealth, they don't know what to do with it. They want to use the material wealth to buy fame. So they would donate to a foundation, to a charity, and they expect the name to be put on a building. Of course, a company, a nonprofit, or a charitable organization who can exhibit the virtue of propriety would know to give those people the name. We'll talk about that in next week. It is a skill and an art to give people the name, the desire for identity. But a person who give with the expectation of getting something in return in terms of the name, the identity, they are actually canceling out their blessings and merit, right? As far as their personal life is concerned, they're using up their fortune by selling their name, how do you say, the merit for the name. Yeah, next week we'll talk about how to use the concept of money as information and energy and amass vast amount of fortune while retaining very little money for yourself. The way to do that is to give the name to other people, give the identity, give the fame to other people. And where's that power triad? We will learn how to acquire a lot of money by giving rich people money. Weird concept. Nobody ever really think about that. You can give rich people money and thereby making a lot of money. If and only if we understand money as energy and as information. Because rich people, what do they like? They like money. If we interact with rich people and we ask them for money, they're not going to like that. They got rich because they desire money in the first place. So if we want our affinity to go up with rich people, we have to help them acquire more money.
It's like that
And
saying.
Say again?
It's like that saying, you got to spend money to make money.
Something like that. Okay, something like that. Okay. But next week I'll talk about how that works and how Master Thorn is able to become very rich without having a lot of money.
Mhm.
In other words, you create a plan and you align the rich people with your plan. And you do it in such a way that the rich people will get the money, but in the process of the money circulating, you get to realize whatever product and services that you acquire. And you don't hold on to the money. Okay, but you don't hold on to money because rich people, they look at you and they say, oh man, this person is altruistic, this person wants to help other people, and so they're willing to spend their money to you. But if you just keep the money, if you keep the money in physical material wealth and like, oh wait, hey, now this guy is accumulating money for themselves, they are now a threat to the rich people. If we're a threat to rich people, then we're not going to be able to extract money from rich people. But if we just kind of somehow use their money, achieve our purpose, and then give that money back to rich people in even greater amount than they give on us. That's the power, that's the skill, and that's the art of making a lot of money without having any money. Same thing with government and powerful people, right? Power and identity. If we have a business and a plan and a project, and if we start to do the plan and do the business, and after a while we get noticed, we get fame. If we unknowingly hold on to the fame, enjoy the fame, what happened is that fame would start to threaten these other powers. It would threaten the other powers. And so they're not going to support you anymore. Instead, we learn to give that power to somebody else, give that identity, that fame to somebody else. Credit to the government, credit it to some rich people. That's why very effective non-profit organization, they do. they give fame to the people who donate. They will name a project after the person who donate. The organization themselves is the one who's actually managing the money and doing and creating the value, but they'll give fame, they'll give the name to the rich person who donate, or to a government official, right? There will be a library in the name of some government official. So we'll learn all about that next week. Okay. Thank you guys for taking your time in your day, your evening, to join the Zoom, to share knowledge. I'm very honored by your presence as well as your participation, your question. Okay. Chị Cúc, thank you for joining us. Chị Cúc, okay. Cool. Okay. Is your English good? Did our conversation help you understand anything? I know you came a little later. Do you have any insight that you would like to share? Any lesson? Okay. Diego, are you aware of the bilingual group that is run by Master Anta? Cô Anta có một cái nhóm gọi là 24 giờ toàn diện. And mỗi ngày nhóm đó chia sẻ nội tâm và những cái đề tài này bằng song ngữ. Are you interested in the bilingual group, or are you okay with just the English only group that we're doing here? Yeah, I'll just send it. I'll just post it again for anybody who joined late. I want to make it available for as many people as possible. This is the link. You can click on that Telegram and the Zalo. We're done with our sharing today, but if you click on the Zoom link, it will take you directly to the other group, the bilingual group. Okay. All righty.
Thank you for your sharing, Frank, and I'll see you in the morning for the
I'll
exercise.
see you tomorrow. Okay, for the exercise where we will enrich our physical vitality, okay, to become more capable people. Let me share with you a little bit of my vision, okay? Not a plan just yet, but I had a dream. I have a dream that one day, somehow or another, the healthcare systems in North America would be a little bit more holistic. Because I work in a healthcare environment, and every day I get to help doctors diagnose patient diseases, and the doctor will treat the disease. But I am very impressed and inspired by the definition of health by the World Health Organization, right? The one that says health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. And it is my dream that one day in North America, there will be a hospital of holistic health, or a medical network of holistic health. Even the medical insurance. Wouldn't it be nice if the medical insurance can promote holistic health? Because think about it, if people are holistically healthy and wealthy, they don't get sick. And so insurance doesn't have to spend a lot of money paying for the recovery and the treatment. So how about the idea of a North American House of Holistic Health? That's the idea that I've been getting lately. Just a mental image that I want to share. I don't have a plan for it yet. The plan for it is really to cultivate my my knowledge, okay, my knowledge of the inner being, my knowledge of the philosophy of root education, work on refining my character, work on my physical vitality. Thanks to you guys, I get to do that every morning. Thanks to you guys, I get to cultivate the material in English. Okay. Okay.
And
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you sharing in English. Thank you.
Alrighty. And I'm gonna write a book on understanding people in English. That's another one of part of my plan. That's an idea that I'm working on. At some point, we will have a book about the fullness of perception of humanity. You know, to understand human beings and then master human life and experience. I think that will be a nice little book to have to share with the world. Okay. Alrighty. Anyway, good night. Bye bye. See you tomorrow
Have
for
a
the
good night.
exercise.
Bye.
Thank you, Frank.
Okay, take care. G Cook, I was talking about the physical exercise. So we not only work on our mental health, which is our wisdom and our attitude and our character, but we also do exercise. And with this group of friends right here, every day, every weekday at 6 p.m. in Vietnam, 6 p.m. in Vietnam, which is 4 a.m. in the West Coast, United States and Canada, 6 p.m. in Vietnam, we get on the same Zoom link and we do exercise. Okay, it is English version of Thay Gân Đổi Cốt. Okay, are you familiar with Thay Gân Đổi Cốt? If you are, then we're going to be doing the same exercise, but we're going to be sharing it in English, and we call it internal body transformation. Okay, IBT, internal body transformation. If you join my Telegram, you should see previous post about the internal body transformation. Okay. Well, anyway, see ya. Bye bye.